more about it. She said, if you still have the courage to write a new column, it could be about something more timeless. Oh, I'm not kidding you. That's the... And then I was actually quite shocked. And yes, I had to write to her, and no one ever, in the 20 years I've written in Denmark, no one ever told me not to write about something. It's my right to write about what I want to write about. When you hired me and the theme was free and open, you can criticize a lot of things in my text. You can say, that quote is too long, could you please include more things, or could you explain yourself better and stuff like that. Of course, I'm open to that, but I don't want people to tell me what I... One thing is to tell you what you should write about, but that you can write about this. She told me now it was in the Bølgedag. What was that? The debate was now in and it had deflowered, and it was a little dead. And she also told me that it was a little sad, trist, with 2 columns in a row from the same column hand. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I have decided to open it. And then she asked me, she repeated these demands after I told her that I found it very problematic. In the last one, I even wrote about that. That it's a problem that the editorial boards in the newspapers and the literary critics and so on, they're so all right here. I even wrote that in the newspaper, and she still had the guts to tell me I should shut up. So I was actually in a shock, because we have had the discussion in Denmark has also been very much about how important it is that the freedom of speech make it possible to say something racist. And that's weird. You could say, of course, that's one thing, but on the other hand, if it's very important that you don't say something anti-racist, I mean, I was very confused. And I have decided that the next one has to open with the sentence, well, it does not have to be about whiteness. All of it does not have to be about whiteness, and then I'm going to write about these 3 days. That's the only way I can do it. Yeah, so that was just like one of the small battles in this that had turned into some kind of a battle that I have longed for so long, as a matter of fact, but it still makes me sad the way that it is going on, because it's not very nuanced, and it's difficult to get the perspectives to open up. It's still very ignorant. Sorry. Yeah. You said it. So, and then how many minutes? 3? 4. I just made some kind of speed presentation of, you know, in Russian you say sport delach, what's to be done. Oh. And it's just a long fight for doing something all the time, in both when you teach and when you write. I don't know if this working doesn't matter. I can just fill in the books. I'm a book person. What I send out in the world, it's books, and they come in many copies. It's an interesting media, the book, actually, because you get your own private copy, and you can make your own notes and stuff. Where to begin? In my teaching at the writer school in Denmark, I persuaded my colleagues to go to Greenland and work with post-colonialism in that way. And we made a very big magazine about it. And then later on, I have worked with young Greenlandic writers here. It's an anthology. We are working with kind of mobile writing school there for them, me and Jesse Kleeman, a Greenlandic performance artist. And we're going to do it again in 2015. And I'm working with, as a Danish-speaking person, to be silent in the room. I'm there because they sometimes need answers in Danish, but the debate about their text is going on in Greenlandic. And I'm only there for answering questions if they want me to. Because it also has to be translated in Danish, and there are a couple of them actually write in Danish. But it is to marginalize the Danish position. Yeah. Jesse and I talked about that, the politics of teaching in that situation. This book was probably the book of poetry where I started to deal with these things more. Among many other things, dealt something with those colonial Denmark Greenland situation, but also with the old anthropology, like this one, about looking at the other's face and writing text about it. That it's from 46, so it's old, but it's after the Second World War, which is frightening when you read these texts about people's faces, and also, of course, how the white people occur in it. I have the pictures here, but it does not matter. This is me talking. I'm talking faster and faster. But I used the ready-made technique to put Danes in and white people in the text, you know. So that's very unpleasant.
Okay, no, I thought you wanted to see the pictures.
No, this is too stressful. I like books better.
Okay.
I don't like this book though. So I deconstructed it very much, you know. And I don't have the pictures in here. I don't reproduce the pictures. You see? But it is some kind of tragic fun to look at if you're in that mood. That's one of the techniques I used in this book. And then I used some kind of inspired from Fluxus and, for instance, Yoko Ono, touch poems and instruction texts. So how I took, that's one of the techniques. I'm just showing you books. Translate. What do you want to translate when you translate? I translated Johannes and Jurus, very beautiful novel, A Storm Came from Paradise. He's a Danish, he's Swedish, and his father is from Uganda, and he's a Muslim, and he's written this. He was my colleague for many, many years, and I spent some time on translating this one because I thought that was important. What do you do when you write for children? Statistically, there are most of the figures in the children literature is statistically white boys. So this is not a black boy. It's I think maybe he's Latino. I never wrote how he should look, but it's just a theme in the book that he wakes up with green hands, green fingers one morning, and then in the end of the book they get normal. And you kind of like, I was very interested in seeing what the writer did with it. Yeah, that's important. Then this is a translation of the Iranian poet Flabbergasted. It's very important in Denmark that there is more knowledge about Persian literature and a debate about modernity in literature. What defines how we look upon modernity? Flabbergasted is like a rock star in Iran, and my wonderful colleague Shadi Akshelina Baseki has translated it, and we had lots of pain and fun creating this book together, which is now in third edition. And this is Die Like Die was a book I wrote where I wrote a lot about whiteness criticism. Jeanette has read some of it, she could see it. Apparently the Danish reviewers couldn't, because they did not mention it with a word. I even made the effort to make the pages in different white colors. And it's so obvious to me that it's about no one, I'm telling you, no one. The poem that's called Die Like Die refers to an old, very racist child song. It's not meant to be racist, but it's called the N-word girls song. I have it here if you would like to hear it. I don't think we should. Again, I didn't quote it. I made it in my own version, which is, she sings "I'm black in my face, black, black, black all over," and I just changed black to white. So I'm singing that when I perform that poem. But still, even though I did that and referred explicit to Danish slavery history, no one wrote anything about this theme in the book. And now, coming out this Wednesday is this monster of a book. I worked together with two other female writers, and these marks are all the places where we're dealing with questions about whiteness, racism, anti-racism, colonialism and stuff. And this is just to say that this is far from over.
Wow.
Yeah. Yo.